drape to it. And when I'm doing crochet, I'm usually doing like amigurumi, stuff like this, stuff that needs to be sculpted into shapes. But no, I get in the mood where I'm just like, I really want to knit right now, or I really want to crochet right now. And I think they each scratch a different itch somehow, even though you're working with yarn for both of them. Angie, just know how I get when I'm focused on making something. Yeah, I get like that. It's bad enough for me. I have to set up timers for stretches. I really should do that, especially when I start having the neck problems. I really should, like every half an hour, just like do a full neck stretch. It would be smart. Yes, hype for Janny. I'm looking forward into raiding into Janny. Jade, US sugar companies went on an insane campaign in the 50s. Oh, yeah, I've seen some of those documentaries too about basically how we got where we are. And yeah, yeah. Interesting, if somewhat infuriating topic to read. It is interesting, and it is infuriating for sure. A lot of the things that I read about, like, look, this is how we are where we are today, just make me want to tear my hair out. And yeah, sugar is one of those things. Like, we don't need to get into gun debates here or anything, but like, even how that has changed and warped over time in the US. The US has not always been like this. Guns have always been legal here, but it has not always been like this. And reading about how it has slowly morphed into what it is now is infuriating. It was covered in your degree. It's mind blowing. Yeah, they went full villain. They still do, but not. Yeah, not quite as public about it now. Yeah. Yep. Yep. And yeah, at this point, I don't know how this attitude is just American versus just human. We like things that we are familiar with, and it's often hard for humans to change. But yeah, things like that, like with the sugar, or like with things that like we US people are accustomed to, you get a lot of people fighting back when you say, hey, this isn't good, we should really change that. And you get a lot of fight back with, no, this is how things are, this is how we like it. We don't want change. And or like reading about how the seatbelt laws started here. There was so much pushback of seatbelt, heck no, no, not for me, thank you, this is dumb. And by now, everyone's used to seatbelt laws, and everyone uses their seatbelt without even, no peep. Not a peep out of people, really. So it's just the change that people get really upset about. But yeah, we could go into all kinds of rants on this. I promise I'm not going there. All right. Do we want to do one last mouse? What colors do we have? We have colors. I don't know. Guess I'll do one last purple. I think I need another purple, and then we'll raid into Janny. Charles Darwin, the part that bugs you about US gun culture is there's no acknowledgement that statistics of how the rest. Exactly! Yes! Absolutely yes. No, it drives me insane. Especially now that there's. Because of how everything has unfolded, there is no perfect parallel of like. There's no perfect parallel, but Australia is a pretty darn good parallel of look how they did it, look how things are going now. But I agree with you. Gnarls Darwin, I absolutely agree. If you try to bring up stats, all you get is stonewalling, yes. Yep. Yep. 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Yep. Yeah, but again, like I definitely don't want to talk about current events and stuff. Partly just because I just feel so powerless. It's oh my gosh, something needs to change in a big way, and it really makes me sad. Anyway, but yeah, back to like the sugar lobbying, which is kind of, I think, where I started bringing this up when you were talking about the sugar lobbying and corporations and stuff, is the NRA, which has been obviously a huge backer. They pushed for common sense laws and background checks and all kinds of things that are just being poo-pooed right now. And I believe it was in like the 70s and definitely into the 80s that all began to change, and the NRA has become a huge lobbying organization. But that's part of what I'm saying is things didn't used to be this way. Yes, it's always been legal, but it has not been insane like this for, forever. And it doesn't need to be. You want to crochet some toys for the cat, but she slurps up string and yarn like noodles, so you're a bit wary. My cat leaves yarn alone for the most part. Like, she'll play with it, but she doesn't try to eat it. But man, if you leave a ribbon, like one of those plasticky ribbons out, she will eat that. Like, I have to pull that straight out of her throat if she gets a hold of that. He is not a smart kitty. But these are no-sew. I felt pretty good about making them because sometimes if you sew things on, I'm always worried that it's going to be a weak point, depending on, how solidly you sew it on. But since this is all worked as one piece, it should have fewer weak points than it might otherwise. I don't know. I don't have a friend that has like a really destructive cat. Because, you talk about some dogs, like some dogs are chewers and they'll like chew up toys immediately, whereas other dogs won't, chew and destroy toys. And I know cats can kind of be like that too. So I can't say how these would hold up under a really destructive, like tearing, ripping cat, but I know that they've held up well with all of my friends' cats. Part that gets on your nerves is that two countries with enough nukes to wipe out all life on this planet, the US and Russia. And neither act. No, they're not. Both are engaging a race to the bottom. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Alley Cat, I agree. Lobbying should be illegal. I do think that is a big thing. Again, I try not to talk about politics here, but I don't think this should be very controversial. But there should not be this amount of money in politics. I think I can say that without that being too controversial. There should not be that kind of money in politics. So yeah, lobbying has caused a lot of problems. Also, your cats love to try to eat yarn. Oh, I'm sorry. I would have to keep this room locked if my cat was like that. But yeah, no, yarn she won't try to eat, but ribbon she will. Plastic she will. If there's a plastic bag out, she's trying to eat that immediately. Not a smart cat eating plastic. You had me at no so. Yes, that's very much me. I hate assembling things.